Hello, this is another Outlook by Mid-Atlantic Weather. I just wanted to bring you guys up to date. So much more on the pattern changes, not so much what are we going to do with next weekend. But I wanted to say that, one, we're in November, so I know I've been advertising cold. Hopefully I'm not overhyping it. I think I was overhyping it a little bit, only because it's quite the change. It's definitely way below normal, but I think way below normal in November is a lot different than way below normal in like December, or January, or February. So maybe that's where people are kind of coming back at me and going, "Why are you overhyping this? What are you talking about?" And getting upset with me. But let me just say, look, it is gonna be a cold November. One of the coldest Novembers we've had in a long time. Compared to normals, we're talking 10, 15, 20 degrees below normal. That's pretty impressive. And now, more and more, it looks like this cold is not going anywhere, and I'll explain why in a bit. I like to start with sea surface temperatures just to kind of overarching see what's going on, see if anything new is developing or anything different, and I'd say no. We still have this warm body. Whoops, let me get a red color here. Red. So we still see this area up here, Pacific Northwest, or sorry, how about the Northeast Pacific Ocean, staying warm. This is important again for driving a pattern that causes a ridge out here in the west, so we're going to see that big time. You get a ridge in the west, you get a trough in the east. It's just a natural buckling. By the way, just from what I'm seeing in the long term, this is a strong pattern set up with these two waves of colder air. Obviously, that are going to cause us some changes in our pattern. El Nino, as I mentioned in last discussion, El Nino has shown up. It's strong enough now to truly be called a El Nino. There's a lag effect in its effect on our weather and the jet stream and things like that. So I think at least in the early part of winter, which we're about to go into, it's not going to be a major player, but it is out there. It's something to watch. I think it helps drive some of this even because some of the patterns it does up here in the Pacific, so it does have some play, but it's not with the southern jet like that we would need so much. The last thing to note here is cold area off the in the Atlantic continues to be there, and that indicates NAO will continue to go negative for us. A negative NAO is very important, as I mentioned before. It's going to block the air from being able to leave. It, in combination with the Arctic Oscillation, which is way up here, this is also going way negative. These are all blocking cold air. They're going to sink the cold air from the poles down to North America and eventually into the United States. Long term, that looks even more impressive now than ever. I'll explain some of the implications here in just a couple minutes. So let's just see what this patterns look like. I, in no particular order, am grabbing the different oscillation here forecasts. And these are European outlooks, so I'm going to do it very, very quickly. And all I got to note is these things are tanking. This is the Arctic Oscillation I mentioned. I mean, this is way off the chart. This is extreme blocking at this point. And I'll explain why that's so significant here in a minute. Here we are with the, oh, you can't even see it, so I'll go up here. This here is the NAO. NAO is going negative. It's not going off the charts, but I mean, that's pretty strong. Once you get below -2 here, I mean that's really strong blocking, and again that has some really strong implications on the storm track. Now I'm going to go and show you this guy. This is the EPO oscillation, and it is off the chart negative. I mean, this thing is so crazy negative. What that means is the blocking is going to be pretty extreme. No doubt that cold air is going to continue to flood into the United States. And then extended, so we don't have to worry about that. And then the other thing to look at is the PNA pattern. We talked about this before. It's staying positive. It's not dramatically positive here. Not anything like the other indexes, at least in one direction or another. It looks like it goes briefly back to neutral, then back up. But I would just tell you, as long as it stays positive, we've got a ridge in the west. So what does that mean? Well, everybody's looking into next weekend, and I can show you all these great forecast models. I like to just kind of give a general summary of what's happening here. I mean, this ridge is coming down, this cold air is coming down here into the United States, and it's going to set up, pretty strongly. It's about mid next week. About Wednesday, we'll finally clear the East Coast. And once it gets through, there is a little piece of energy that does just look like it could ride along the boundary here between the colder and warmer air. And right now, I don't see anything that's dramatic. This would be just a little wave that kind of goes across, and it could spit a little bit of snow. No big deal, really, in general, except for the fact that a larger part of Virginia could see some spits of snow, even rain. I mean, it's not a strong system, so realistically, we're talking snow showers and things like that. Mountains always could get a little bit more as it gets to the coast. Anything like that gets a little more moisture into it. Maybe there's going to be some areas that see potentially a little bit of accumulation, more than just like a little spitting, maybe like up to an inch or something like that. But we'll see. Remember, along the coastal plain, in areas further south, boundary layers, meaning the area down near the surface, remains pretty warm. I do think it's anomalously cold or cold enough in the upper atmosphere that we can continue to see the potential for some snow to stick around. So what I wanted to say really quick is what happens under extreme blocking conditions. Extreme blocking conditions cause suppression of the storm track. So as storms come in, they are so far blocked south that areas in the southern, southeastern U.S. really have to watch out for potential overrunning events that cause sleet, freezing rain, snow. Sleet, freezing rain, usually not a big deal this time of the year, so at least some frozen. And I mean, I'm not saying it's unheard of. It's just atypical for this time of year to really see that type of a scenario set up where you get a real problem. But it does mean the storm tracks don't really ride up the East Coast because they're blocked even further down south and out to sea, or they go up the coast, or up north, but they're way off the coast before they do that. The type of blocking I was showing you with AO and the NAO is strong enough to create that type of storm track. And it also indicates that the blocking isn't going anywhere. And with that blocking continuing to be there, you're just going to get reinforcement of the cold air. And the longer you get kind of like that stability of blocking, the colder each subsequent, piece or chunk of cold air comes down and gets a little colder. Again, we're talking 15, 20, 25 degree below normal temperatures in a lot of areas. For us, again, at the worst, that may be upper 30s in some parts of the region. Really, at this time of year, as well as low 40s. But I mean, seriously, that is pretty cold. I mean, that's more like winter cold than it is November cold. If I was to kind of like do an outlook in the long run range, there were some indications, some signals there that we could see some type of a bigger storm system coming in, maybe after next week or beyond. I'm still going to put that out there. I don't think it looks as impressive on last night's run, but new model runs are coming in right now. Again, the Friday run, there's still some precip there. It's been showing up. I mean, 5, 6, 7, 8 models. It's finally showing up in some of the forecasts if you see them for chance of rain or snow showers. And right now, I'm just going to say that. Chance of rain or snow showers coming next Friday. Beyond that, the pattern looks like it could maintain sustaining cold. And when I say cold, again, I'm talking 40s. Probably for most of us, maybe low 50s in the south areas, and the mountains are obviously feeling a lot chillier. Great for the ski resorts. I mean, anybody who wants to go skiing, looks like by Thanksgiving, if not sooner, most everybody should be open and skiing. I know a lot of mountains opened after the snow that we got a week or so ago. Anyway, that is all I have to share today, and that's it.